50 million years before Christ, there was a gigantic creature called the mammoth. It could reach a height of 15 feet and was considered one of the giant beings of that era. All other creatures feared it and stayed away because of its massive size and strength. It had tusks on its face and lived on Earth for exactly 55 million years, specifically in Central Europe.
On the frozen plains, a massive mammoth emerges, quiet yet commanding in presence. Its body is covered with thick, long hair, dark brown or sometimes gray, providing essential protection against the relentless cold winds of the Ice Age. Beneath this hair lies a thick layer of fat, preserving warmth for its enormous frame and allowing it to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The mammoth's long trunk stretches forward, testing the snow and the frozen ground below. It brushes aside layers of ice and snow, revealing hidden grasses, small plants, and whatever nourishment may have survived the winter. Each movement of the trunk is slow and deliberate, almost ceremonial, as if the mammoth understands the patience required to survive. Its tusks, long and curved, extend far in front of its face. They are not mere decorations. These tusks dig through thick snow and ice, helping the mammoth access the vegetation beneath. They are also defensive tools, used to ward off predators or rivals, and sometimes they clash in silent contests among males over dominance within the herd. The mammoth is rarely alone. It moves within a herd, usually led by an older, experienced female. She knows the safest paths, the locations of food, and the hidden dangers of the icy landscape. Young mammoths huddle near their mothers, finding warmth and protection, while adult males often stay on the periphery, traveling in small groups or wandering alone, returning to the herd only when necessary. Life with the mammoth is slow, methodical, and repetitive, yet perfectly suited to the environment. It spends hours walking, foraging, digging through snow and ice, step by step, without hurry. Survival depends on persistence, patience, and an unspoken knowledge passed down through generations. During the day, the mammoth moves through icy plains in search of food. It digs, grazes, and continues walking for long stretches, consuming hundreds of kilograms of vegetation to sustain its massive body. Even the coldest winds cannot deter it, for its thick hair and fat layer create a barrier against the elements. The mammoth's every step is a measured effort, each one leaving deep impressions in the snow, a silent record of its journey across the frozen lands. At night, the herd often pauses. The young stay close to the adults, while the wind whistles across the plains. The mammoth stands tall and still, its hair swaying gently with the cold breeze, eyes scanning the horizon. There is a quiet wisdom in its gaze, a sense of endurance and understanding that life here is neither easy nor fast, but requires constant vigilance and strength. Despite the harshness of the Ice Age, the mammoth thrives in its environment. Its massive body, long tusks, flexible trunk, and thick coat of hair allow it to survive where other creatures might falter. Each day is a cycle of searching, eating, walking, and standing watch, a rhythm as old as the species itself.
The mammoth is more than just a giant of the past. It is a symbol of endurance, a testament to life in extreme conditions. Its slow, deliberate movements, the interactions within the herd, and the resilience shown in every step illustrate a quiet, persistent struggle for survival that lasted thousands of years. Even today, the mammoth remains a reminder of the Ice Age's vast frozen landscapes and the creatures that adapted to live within them. Every detail of its existence,
The way it digs with its tusks, how it uses its trunk, how the young follow the mothers, and how the herd moves across the snowy plains paints a vivid picture of a life balanced delicately between survival and nature's unyielding forces. The mammoth's story is silent, slow, and immense, a calm rhythm that continues to echo across time long after the species vanished from the earth. The day begins with the mammoth moving slowly across the frozen plains, its massive legs sinking slightly into the snow with every step. Survival depends entirely on finding enough food to sustain its enormous body, and the mammoth knows this better than anything else. Every movement, every turn of its head is guided by the search for nourishment. Beneath the thick snow, the mammoth uncovers grasses, mosses, and small shrubs that somehow survive the winter. Its trunk is a versatile tool, curling and stretching to grab plants, pull them from the frozen ground, and bring them to its mouth. The long, curved tusks assist in breaking through layers of ice, revealing hidden patches of edible greenery. The herd moves together, though each individual searches slightly differently. Younger mammoths mimic the adults, learning where and how to dig, where to find the sweetest shoots, and how to navigate the icy terrain without wasting energy. The older female leads the group, guiding them to areas where vegetation is still plentiful and alerting them to danger. For the mammoth, finding food is not a quick process. It spends hours meticulously uncovering what lies beneath the snow, testing the ground with its trunk, brushing away ice, and carefully selecting what to eat. Even the smallest patch of grass is valuable, and nothing edible is overlooked. Occasionally, the mammoth pauses, lifting its head to sniff the cold air. The trunk, sensitive to the slightest scent, can detect distant food sources. It listens for faint sounds, the crunch of snow under another animal's feet, or the movement of the herd nearby. Every detail helps the mammoth survive, making each day a delicate balance of effort, observation, and endurance.
Food is scarce, especially during the harshest months of the Ice Age. But the mammoth has adapted to these conditions over thousands of years. Its body stores energy efficiently, allowing it to withstand periods when the snow covers the land and food is hidden. The thick hair and fat layer also help conserve energy, reducing the need for constant movement when the cold is extreme. As the day progresses, the herd moves slowly, sometimes stopping at small streams or frozen rivers. Water is essential, even in freezing conditions, and the mammoth uses its tusks and trunk to break the ice and access liquid water beneath. Feeding, drinking, and walking are repeated endlessly, a rhythm dictated by necessity rather than choice. Even in moments of calm, when the wind blows softly across the plains and the sun is low in the sky, the mammoth continues its work. Every bite of grass, every careful step, every small action contributes to survival. The young observe and learn, the adults maintain their vigilance, and the herd moves as one organism, each member fulfilling its role. By evening, the mammoth has covered miles across the snowy landscape. Its body bears the marks of the day, snow stuck to its fur, dust and ice clinging to its tusks, but it remains strong and steady. Feeding is not just a task, it is the lifeline that allows this ancient creature to endure the Ice Age's relentless cold. In the quiet moments, when the sun dips behind distant ridges and the herd pauses for rest, the mammoth's slow, deliberate movements become almost meditative. Each day is the same, yet unique, filled with the constant search for food, the careful navigation of the icy plains, and the silent understanding
that survival depends on patience, endurance, and the unspoken knowledge passed through generations. The mammoth moves through a vast frozen world, stretching endlessly in every direction. Snow covers the plains like a white carpet, broken only by distant ridges and frozen rivers. The wind whistles across the icy landscape, carrying the faint scent of moss and hidden vegetation. Every step the mammoth takes leaves deep impressions in the snow, marking its slow journey through this harsh, silent world. Despite the stark whiteness, life persists. Patches of hardy grasses peek through the snow. Small shrubs cling to the frozen ground, and occasional clusters of moss provide nourishment. The mammoth navigates carefully, following trails worn by other animals, using its trunk to test the snow for hidden dangers or food beneath.
The temperature is extreme. During the day, the cold bites at exposed skin, yet the mammoth's thick hair and fat protect it. At night, the wind grows stronger, and the plains become a world of shadows and silence. The herd often clusters together, drawing warmth from one another, their breath forming clouds that drift away in the icy air. Rivers and streams are mostly frozen, but they shape the landscape. The mammoth knows where the ice is thin and where water can be reached. Crossing these frozen waterways requires caution. One misstep could mean hours of struggle through snow or the danger of breaking ice. Yet the mammoth moves steadily, guided by instinct and knowledge passed down through generations. The sun hangs low in the sky, often hidden behind clouds or drifting snowstorms. Light reflects off the snow in soft shades of white and blue, casting long shadows across the plains. The mammoth's dark fur stands in stark contrast to the bright landscape, making it a moving figure of strength and endurance. Predators exist, though rarely seen. Saber-toothed cats or wolves lurk in the distance, waiting for weakness. The mammoth's herd provides protection, with adults standing between the young and potential threats. The herd moves as one, a collective force against the dangers of the Ice Age. The environment is not only a challenge, but also a source of life. Moss, grass, shrubs, and occasional trees, all adapted to cold and short growing seasons, provide the necessary sustenance. The mammoth's survival depends on understanding and navigating this environment carefully. Each day involves observation, decision-making, and measured movement across the plains, ensuring that the herd reaches areas where food is still available. Storms can appear suddenly, covering the landscape in thick layers of snow and ice. Visibility drops, and the wind's howl becomes overwhelming. During these times, the herd slows, sticking close together. The mammoth relies on its strength, thick coat, and calm endurance to weather the storm. Its large body generates heat, and by huddling with others, it preserves energy, ensuring survival through the harshest conditions. Even in calm weather, the plains demand respect. The ice beneath, the snow above, and the wind around constantly test the mammoth's ability to navigate, find food, and maintain safety. The vastness of the landscape emphasizes the mammoth's resilience. It is a creature of balance, perfectly adapted to endure extremes that few others could survive. As the day wanes, the mammoth and its herd continue their journey, leaving footprints across the frozen earth. Every detail of the environment, the icy rivers, the scattered vegetation, the gusting wind, is part of the mammoth's life. Its story is inseparable from the world around it, a quiet testament to to survival in one of history's most unforgiving landscapes. The mammoth begins its day with measured steps across the frozen plains. Each movement is deliberate, every step pressing into the snow, leaving deep impressions that tell the story of its journey. Life in this icy world is governed by routine, and the mammoth's survival depends on maintaining a consistent rhythm throughout the day. Its large legs carry its massive body steadily, never in haste. The herd moves together, the older females guiding the younger members, while the males linger on the edges, surveying the surroundings. The young follow closely, learning the patterns of walking, foraging, and interacting with the environment that will one day sustain them. The trunk is always in motion. It tests the ground, lifts branches, pulls up tufts of grass, and brushes aside layers of ice and snow. The tusks, long and curved, serve as both tools and protection, assisting in digging and sometimes in gentle sparring between herd members. Each action is precise, honed by necessity over countless generations. The mammoth's day is largely dedicated to movement and searching for sustenance. Hours are spent walking across the plains, stopping occasionally to graze, uproot small shrubs, or break ice for water. The rhythm is slow, steady, and unbroken, a constant repetition that defines life in the Ice Age. The herd navigates around frozen rivers, over gentle rises, and through patches of vegetation, always alert, yet unhurried. Even while walking, the mammoth pays attention to subtle signs in the environment. The scent of fresh plants carried by the wind, faint sounds of other animals in the distance, and the texture of the snow beneath its feet all guide its decisions. Survival requires observation and patience, and the mammoth embodies both. In the middle of the day, brief pauses occur. The adults stand still, scanning the horizon for predators or obstacles, while the young rest close to the safety of the herd. The cold air is sharp, yet the mammoth's thick coat and body fat make the harshness bearable. Every pause, every glance, every careful movement reflects a life structured by necessity, endurance, and instinct.
As the sun moves across the sky, the mammoth continues its slow journey. The herd shifts, adapting to the availability of food, the condition of the snow, and the changing light. Steps that might seem repetitive are essential for survival. Each footprint in the snow marks hours of careful effort, a testament to the mammoth's strength and resilience. By late afternoon, the herd often reaches areas richer in vegetation. Small shrubs, mosses, and frozen grasses provide nourishment that sustains the group through the evening. The young mimic the adults, learning what to eat and how to use their trunks and tusks effectively. Every bite is calculated, every movement deliberate. As night falls, the mammoth and the herd find temporary resting spots. Snow drifts around them, and the wind's whisper fills the silent plains. The herd clusters together, sharing warmth, conserving energy, and maintaining vigilance. The mammoth's body sways gently with each gust, yet it remains steadfast, a calm and enduring presence in the vast, frozen wilderness. Through this daily routine, walking, foraging, observing, resting, the mammoth demonstrates a life of resilience and adaptation. Every day is much like the last, yet each is vital. The steady rhythm of movement, the careful attention to surroundings, and the enduring cooperation within the herd ensure survival in a world shaped by ice, wind, and relentless cold. As the season changes, the frozen plains become harsher. Winter arrives with bitter winds, heavy snowfall, and temperatures that can pierce through even the thickest layers of fur. For the mammoth, survival is no longer just a matter of finding food. It becomes a test of endurance, strength, and resilience. The herd moves slowly, each step deliberate. Snowdrifts rise and fall across the plains, forcing the mammoth to lift its massive legs higher, breaking through icy crusts to continue its journey. The wind sweeps across the landscape, pushing against the thick fur and sending shivers even through the layers of fat beneath. Yet, the mammoth moves steadily, its instincts guiding it through the cold, unforgiving terrain.
Water is another necessity. Streams and rivers freeze over, forcing the mammoth to break the ice with its tusks or seek out narrow cracks where liquid water is available. These moments are critical. Survival depends on staying hydrated as well as nourished. The cold is relentless, but the mammoth is well adapted. Its dense fur, layers of fat, and massive size allow it to retain heat even as the wind howls across the plains. The herd huddles together during the most extreme weather, sharing warmth and conserving energy. Every member has a role. The adults create a shield around the young, protecting them from wind and potential predators, while the younger mammoths learn to endure the cold and navigate the snow-covered landscape. Despite these challenges, the mammoth moves with calm determination. Its movements are measured, conserving energy while ensuring the herd reaches food sources and safe resting areas. Every step, every dig through the snow, and every careful glance across the plains demonstrates a quiet resilience, a life structured around survival rather than speed or haste. Storms can arrive suddenly. Blinding snow and gusting winds reduce visibility to almost nothing. In these moments, the herd slows further, sticking close together. The mammoth's large body acts as a shield, the fur protecting sensitive areas, and the presence of the herd provides security. The mammoth stands firm, its movements deliberate, enduring the storm until it passes, a silent testament to the strength of its species. The frozen world of winter is unforgiving, yet it also shapes the mammoth's life. Every challenge strengthens the herd, teaches the young, and maintains the balance between survival and the harsh realities of nature. The rhythm of walking, digging, feeding, and resting continues day after day, each repetition a vital part of life in the Ice Age. As night falls, the mammoth and its herd find sheltered areas, often behind snowdrifts or near rocky ridges. The wind persists, but within the herd, warmth and calm prevail. The mammoth's steady breathing, the gentle movement of the young, and the quiet vigil of the adults create a sense of order in a chaotic, frozen world. Every day survived in winter is a triumph, a continuation of life that has endured through thousands of years. Even in the harshest cold, the mammoth moves forward, a silent figure of resilience. Its body, its behavior, and its relationships within the herd all reflect a species finely tuned to withstand the extremes of the Ice Age, a life defined by perseverance, patience, and the enduring struggle to survive.
For thousands of years, the mammoth roamed the frozen plains, surviving the harsh winters, finding food beneath the snow, and enduring the challenges of the Ice Age. Yet even this mighty creature, perfectly adapted to its environment, could not withstand all the changes that came over time. The end of the Ice Age brought gradual but significant changes. The climate warmed slowly, and the once frozen plains began to shrink. Snow melted earlier, Rivers flowed more strongly, and forests started to spread into areas once dominated by grass and moss. The habitats the mammoth relied on for survival were changing, and not all of them could support such a massive creature. Food became scarcer. As grasses and shrubs were replaced by forests, the mammoths found it increasingly difficult to find enough to eat. The herd, once able to roam freely across vast plains, now had to compete for limited resources. The struggle for survival intensified, and even the largest and strongest members faced the threat of starvation. Humans also began to play a role. Early hunters followed herds of mammoths, using their knowledge of the animals' routines to track them. While hunting may not have been the sole cause of extinction, it added pressure on already stressed populations. The combination of environmental changes and human activity created a scenario the mammoths could not overcome. Disease and genetic decline also contributed. Small, isolated populations became vulnerable to illnesses and inbreeding. With fewer individuals surviving, the genetic diversity necessary for adaptation decreased. The species' resilience, honed over millennia, was weakened, making recovery difficult or impossible. The extinction of the mammoth did not happen overnight. It was a slow process, occurring over thousands of years. Some populations survived longer in isolated regions, far from human activity, and with pockets of suitable habitat. Yet even these remnant herds eventually disappeared, leaving only fossilized bones, tusks, and frozen remains as evidence of their existence. Despite their disappearance, the legacy of the mammoth remains. Fossils tell the story of a species that endured extreme cold, massive predators, and the shifting landscapes of the Ice Age. Scientists study these remains to understand their behavior, diet, and interactions with the environment and humans. Through DNA analysis, researchers even hope to learn whether parts of this ancient species could be brought back in some form.
The extinction of the mammoth serves as a reminder of the fragile balance between species and their environment. No matter how strong, large, or well-adapted a creature may be, changes in climate, food availability, and human interference can shift the balance and lead to disappearance. The mammoth's story is one of endurance, survival, and ultimately the delicate nature of life on Earth. Today, the mammoth is gone, but its presence is still felt in the frozen landscapes where it once roamed. Its bones, tusks, and frozen remains provide a window into a world long past, and its story continues to fascinate scientists, historians, and anyone who imagines life in the vast icy plains of the Ice Age. Long after the mammoths vanished from the Earth, the frozen ground of the far north kept their memory alive. Beneath layers of ice and permafrost, their bodies lay hidden for thousands of years, preserved by the extreme cold. When explorers and scientists began to uncover these remains, the world was given a rare and extraordinary glimpse into the past. The discovery of frozen mammoths is unlike finding simple bones or fossils. These remains often include skin, hair, organs, and sometimes even the contents of the animal's stomach. Every detail tells a story. The reddish-brown fur, still clinging to the skin after millennia, shows how thick their coats were. Their massive tusks, curving like giant crescents, remain intact, sometimes polished by the soil or ice around them. Even the wrinkles in their skin, preserved by frost, remind us that these were once living, breathing creatures. In Siberia, Alaska, and other parts of the Arctic, entire mammoths have been found sealed in the ice. Some discoveries are so well preserved that scientists can study the last meals these animals ate. In one case, grasses and flowers were found in a mammoth's stomach, frozen in time and showing the diet it relied on during its final days. These details reveal not only the life of the mammoth, but also the environment it lived in. The discoveries are not just scientific, they are also deeply emotional. Standing before a frozen mammoth, one cannot help but imagine it walking across snowy plains thousands of years ago. Its presence feels immediate, as if the distance between the Ice Age and today has suddenly vanished.
Scientists carefully study these remains, using advanced techniques to analyze DNA, tissues, and bones. Each discovery adds new pieces to the puzzle of how mammoths lived and why they disappeared. Genetic studies in particular have revealed fascinating details about their population sizes, migrations, and the challenges they faced near the end of their existence. These discoveries have also sparked bold questions. If so much of the mammoth is preserved, could it one day be brought back? The idea of de-extinction, using DNA to recreate or clone an extinct species, has gained attention worldwide. Some scientists argue that bringing mammoths back could even help restore Arctic ecosystems by encouraging grassland growth. Others question the ethics and risks of such experiments. But beyond the debates, the frozen remains of the mammoth stand as remarkable messengers from the past. They allow us to see, with our own eyes, the form of a creature that walked the earth tens of thousands of years ago. Unlike most extinct animals, whose stories survive only in fossils or drawings, the mammoth appears almost untouched by time, carried forward by the ice itself. For local communities in Siberia and the Arctic, mammoth discoveries have also had practical significance. Tusks preserved in the ground are sometimes collected and carved, continuing a tradition that stretches back to ancient times. While this raises concerns for preservation, it also shows how deeply the mammoth remains are tied to human history and culture. Every new discovery adds to the sense of wonder. A frozen mammoth calf found with delicate eyelashes still intact, an adult with its stomach full of wildflowers. Tusks weighing hundreds of pounds, spiraled with growth lines like rings of a tree, telling the story of each year of its life. These are not distant relics, they are direct connections to a vanished world. The mammoth may be gone, but in frozen ground and icebound valleys, pieces of its life endure. Each discovery brings the Ice Age closer to us, reminding us of the fragile connection between life, environment, and time. Standing before these remains, we are reminded that the past is never truly lost. It waits beneath the surface, preserved, silent, and ready to speak when uncovered. The mammoth was not only a creature of flesh and bone, it also lived in the minds and stories of early humans. For thousands of years, humans shared the frozen lands with these massive beings, observing their behavior, hunting them for food, and learning from their presence. The mammoth became more than an animal. It became part of human culture, art, and myth.
Cave paintings discovered in Siberia, France, and other parts of Europe show the mammoth in vivid detail. Artists depicted its massive body, curved tusks, and thick fur with remarkable precision. These paintings were not just artistic expression, they reflected respect, observation, and the intimate knowledge early humans had of the mammoth. Every line and stroke tells a story of survival, reverence, and the connection between humans and the animal world. Mammoth tusks and bones were often used by humans to build shelters, tools, and art. Some remains were fashioned into figurines, carved with care to resemble the animal itself. These artifacts reveal that the mammoth was woven into the fabric of daily life, providing not only sustenance, but also materials that supported early human communities in the harsh Ice Age environment. Stories and oral traditions likely carried the presence of mammoths across generations. Tales of enormous creatures, capable of incredible strength and endurance, may have inspired myths and legends among early peoples. Though the specifics of these stories are lost to time,
their echoes can be seen in the fascination humans have always had with giants of the past. Hunting the mammoth was an act that required skill, courage, and cooperation. Groups of humans would plan carefully, understanding the animal's routines, behavior, and herd dynamics. Successful hunts meant survival, as the meat, fat, and hides provided food, warmth, and protection. The experience of hunting such a massive creature left a lasting impression, shaping both practical knowledge and cultural identity. Even after mammoths began to disappear, their influence persisted. Objects made from tusks traveled across regions, traded among communities, and preserved the memory of these incredible creatures. Myths, stories, and early artistic depictions ensured that the mammoth remained present in human consciousness long after its physical disappearance from the landscape. The mammoth also appears in modern imagination, inspiring stories, films, and research projects. Its colossal size, thick fur, and extinction story capture the human fascination with survival, adaptation, and the fragility of life. Yet these modern depictions are deeply rooted in the historical bond between humans and mammoths, a bond formed over thousands of years of shared existence. Every artifact, painting, and carved tusk tells us that the mammoth was more than a creature. It was a symbol of strength, endurance, and the challenges of life in the Ice Age. Humans observed, interacted, and relied on these giants, creating a legacy that connects us to a time when mammoths roamed the earth, shaping both the land and the people who lived alongside them.
Through ancient art, tools, and stories, we glimpse the relationship between humans and mammoths, a connection defined by survival, respect, and a shared existence in a frozen world. The mammoth's image persists, reminding us of the intertwining of life, culture, and memory across time. Even today, the mammoth continues to inspire awe, representing the majesty of a world long gone but never forgotten. Its presence in human history and imagination ensures that, though extinct, the mammoth's story endures, bridging the Ice Age with the present moment. In the modern era, the mammoth has captured the imagination of scientists and researchers around the world. Frozen in ice for thousands of years, the remains of these creatures provide a unique opportunity to study a species lost to time. Scientists examine bones, tusks, hair, and even preserved organs to uncover the secrets of how mammoths lived, moved, and thrived in the harsh environments of the Ice Age. DNA extracted from frozen mammoth remains has become a focal point of research. Through advanced genetic studies, scientists have been able to understand not only the mammoth's lineage, but also its adaptations to extreme cold, massive size, and dietary needs. This genetic insight paints a picture of a creature perfectly tuned to survive where few others could, a testament to the power of evolution. But beyond understanding, some researchers have turned their attention to a more ambitious goal: de-extinction. Using DNA from well-preserved mammoths, scientists explore whether it is possible to bring the species back in some form. This process involves comparing mammoth genes to those of their closest living relatives, the Asian elephants, and attempting to create hybrids that carry key traits of the mammoth, such as thick fur and cold tolerance. The concept of de-extinction raises both excitement and ethical debate. Could a new generation of mammoths help restore ecosystems in the Arctic? Would reintroducing a species that has been gone for thousands of years cause unforeseen ecological problems? These questions challenge scientists to consider the responsibility that comes with such power, blending the line between science and stewardship of nature. Even as de-extinction remains experimental, the research itself has already yielded fascinating insights. Studies of mammoth blood, tissues, and bone structures reveal how they regulated body heat, how their tusks grew over decades, and how they moved across vast frozen landscapes with remarkable endurance.
Observing these details allows modern scientists to understand not just the mammoth, but also the Ice Age environment it inhabited, a world of snow, ice, and resilient life.
The frozen remains also provide clues to human history. Tools found near mammoth remains suggest hunting and interaction, showing how early humans relied on these giant creatures for food, materials, and survival. Each scientific discovery adds depth to our understanding, connecting biology, ecology, and human culture in a single story that spans tens of thousands of years. In laboratories around the world, researchers continue to study mammoth DNA, experiment with genetic editing, and explore the limits of what is scientifically possible. While the full resurrection of the mammoth may remain a dream, the pursuit itself demonstrates humanity's enduring curiosity and fascination with life that once was. The story of the mammoth in modern science is one of discovery, wonder, and careful consideration. Frozen in time, the mammoth has become both a window into the past and a guide for potential futures, reminding us that the past is never entirely gone. Through each experiment, each analysis, and each genetic study, we learn more about this majestic creature and the world it once ruled. Even as science pushes boundaries, the mammoth's presence endures, bridging the Ice Age with the present day. Its story is no longer only about survival in frozen plains, but also about the human quest to understand, preserve, and perhaps even bring back life from the depths of history. Long after the mammoth disappeared from the earth, its story continued to captivate human imagination. From museums to books, films, and documentaries, this enormous Ice Age creature remains a symbol of endurance, mystery, and the extraordinary scale of life that once existed on our planet. In museums around the world, mammoth skeletons and casts allow visitors to stand in awe before creatures that walked the earth tens of thousands of years ago. Children and adults alike marvel at the sheer size of the tusks, the bulk of the bodies, and the intricate details preserved in bones and casts. These displays transform the abstract idea of the Ice Age into a tangible, memorable experience. The mammoth has also found its way into literature and film. Stories often depict it as a gentle giant, roaming frozen plains, facing harsh environments with patience and resilience. In some tales, the mammoth is a companion to humans, a symbol of harmony with nature, while in others it is a formidable presence, emphasizing the challenges early humans faced in survival. Through these depictions, the mammoth inspires imagination and reflection on life, nature, and endurance.
Scientific fascination continues to influence popular culture. News of frozen mammoths discovered in Siberia or genetic studies aimed at de-extinction often makes headlines worldwide. The possibility of bringing a species back from extinction sparks debates and wonder, capturing attention beyond the scientific community. People are drawn to the idea of reconnecting with a world that existed long before modern civilization. Art and digital media have embraced the mammoth as well. Illustrators, animators, and game designers recreate Ice Age landscapes filled with these towering creatures. Using computer graphics or traditional painting techniques, artists bring mammoths to life, emphasizing their massive presence and intricate features. Each artwork or animation educates, entertains, and preserves the memory of a species that otherwise exists only in fossils and imagination. The mammoth also serves as a symbol in environmental discussions. Its extinction reminds humanity of the fragility of life and the consequences of climate change, habitat loss, and human impact on ecosystems. The lessons drawn from the mammoth's disappearance inspire conservation efforts, encouraging people to protect species still thriving today before it is too late. Even in everyday culture, the mammoth appears as a metaphor. Its slow, deliberate movements, endurance, and immense size evoke thoughts of patience, strength, and resilience.
Businesses, educational projects, and media sometimes use the mammoth as a representation of lasting power or a reminder of nature's grandeur. The enduring fascination with the mammoth bridges the past and present. It reminds us of a frozen world dominated by giants, a world both alien and intimately connected to our own. Through stories, science, art, and culture, the mammoth continues to teach, inspire, and awe. In essence, the mammoth is more than an extinct animal. It is a living symbol in human consciousness. Its story, preserved in bones, ice, art, and imagination, connects us to the vast timeline of Earth's history. As we study, depict, and reflect upon these incredible creatures, the mammoth's legacy continues, encouraging curiosity, wonder, and respect for the natural world. Even today, as people encounter mammoths in museums, films, or stories, they are reminded of the Ice Age and the extraordinary creatures it produced. The mammoth endures, not in life, but in the imagination and inspiration it sparks, linking humans to a world long gone, yet never forgotten.
As we look back across the frozen plains, the mammoth emerges not merely as a creature of the Ice Age, but as a symbol of endurance, adaptation, and the quiet struggle for survival. Its massive body, thick fur, and curved tusks tell a story of evolution perfected over thousands of years, a story of life in one of the harshest climates Earth has ever seen. The mammoth's existence was defined by routine, patience, and resilience. Each day brought a careful balance of movement, foraging, observation, and interaction within the herd. Its slow steps across icy plains, the careful use of its trunk and tusks, and its vigilant attention to predators and environment created a life of deliberate survival. Every moment was purposeful, every action vital to maintaining life in a world both beautiful and unforgiving. Living alongside humans, the mammoth became intertwined with culture and myth. Early humans hunted and studied these creatures, painted their images on cave walls, and carved their forms into tusks and bones. The mammoth was both sustenance and inspiration, a partner in survival and a figure of reverence. Its presence shaped not only ecosystems but also human imagination and ingenuity. The Ice Age eventually passed, climates shifted, and habitats changed. The mammoth faced scarcity, environmental stress, and human pressures, ultimately leading to extinction. Yet even in disappearance, its story continues. Fossils, frozen remains, and tusks preserve details of anatomy, diet, and behavior, offering modern science a window into a long-lost world. DNA studies and research into de-extinction keep the possibility alive that one day aspects of the mammoth may return in new forms. Culturally, the mammoth continues to captivate the imagination. Museums, films, books, and art celebrate its form and story. It inspires curiosity, awe, and respect for the delicate balance between species and environment. Its life and extinction offer lessons on resilience, adaptability, and the consequences of environmental change. Reflecting on the mammoth also reminds us of the interconnectedness of life. The frozen plains it roamed, the plants it fed upon, the predators it evaded, and the humans it encountered were all threads in a complex tapestry. The mammoth's existence was defined by routine, patience, and resilience. Its slow steps across icy plains, the careful use of its trunk and tusks, and its vigilant attention to predators and environment created a life of deliberate survival. Every moment was purposeful, every action vital to maintaining life in a world both beautiful and unforgiving. Standing before a mammoth skeleton in a museum, discovering frozen remains in Siberia, or imagining its slow journey across icy plains,
we are invited to contemplate a life so different yet intimately connected to our own. The mammoth moves slowly through history, a giant echo of endurance and survival, a story of life that persists even in absence.
Ultimately, the mammoth teaches us to appreciate the extraordinary in the ordinary. Its daily routines, interactions with its herd, and quiet perseverance in a harsh world reflect lessons about strength, patience, and adaptation. Though extinct, the mammoth remains alive in stories, discoveries, and the imagination of every generation that encounters it. As we conclude this journey, the mammoth stands as both a creature of the past and a guide to understanding life, resilience, and the fragile beauty of our world. Its footsteps in the snow may be gone, but its story continues, silent, enduring, and eternally inspiring. The mammoth did not live in isolation. Its life unfolded across vast frozen landscapes shaped by the Ice Age, where snow, ice, and cold winds dominated. These environments were not barren. They were ecosystems teeming with grasses, mosses, shrubs, and scattered trees, providing sustenance to the mammoth and other Ice Age creatures. The plains stretched endlessly, punctuated by frozen rivers, rocky ridges, and gentle hills. Mammoths roamed these spaces in search of food, moving carefully yet steadily across the snow. The herd's movements left deep impressions, marking the land with footprints that could be followed for miles. These paths were more than tracks. They were lifelines, guiding the herd to feeding grounds and water sources. The climate was harsh and unpredictable. Storms could arrive suddenly, with blinding snow and gusting winds that forced the herd to slow, huddle, and wait. Despite this, the mammoth thrived. Its thick fur, layers of fat, and massive size made it resilient against the cold, allowing it to endure conditions that would challenge most other animals. Other creatures shared this environment. Predators such as large cats and wolves prowled nearby, while smaller herbivores navigated the plains, each species adapting to survive. The mammoth's size offered protection, but vigilance was always necessary. The herd moved with careful coordination, adults shielding the young, and each member attuned to the slightest movement or sound in the distance. Vegetation dictated much of the mammoth's behavior. Grasses and mosses grew in clusters beneath the snow, and shrubs sprouted along the edges of frozen rivers. The mammoth used its trunk to dig through ice and snow, uncovering hidden food. Tusks assisted in moving branches or breaking crusted layers of ice, revealing the nourishment beneath. Survival was a daily effort, a careful interaction with the land that balanced energy expenditure with sustenance.
Water was scarce and precious. Streams and rivers often froze, forcing the mammoth to find cracks or dig through ice to access liquid water. Every movement, pause, and choice was influenced by the need for hydration, making the environment not only a source of food, but also a challenge to overcome. Seasons shaped life profoundly. During warmer months, grasses and shrubs thrived, allowing the herd to feed with less effort. Winter, however, brought scarcity, requiring endurance, cooperation, and adaptability. Migration routes were often dictated by the availability of resources, and knowledge of the land was passed down through generations within the herd. Even amidst the cold and snow, the environment was alive with subtle beauty. Sunlight reflecting off ice, the mudded colors of distant hills, and the quiet of a frozen plain created a serene backdrop for the mammoth's daily life. Each step, each pause to graze, and each interaction with the surroundings formed a rhythm, a dance between life and environment, shaped over thousands of years. The mammoth's relationship with its environment was one of dependence and adaptation. The plains provided food and space, yet also demanded constant vigilance and energy. Every movement, every choice, and every day survived reflected an understanding of the land, the climate, and the complex web of life in which the mammoth was both a participant and a symbol. In this frozen world, the mammoth's life was a testament to endurance, adaptation, and the intricate balance between creature and environment. It was a life deeply intertwined with the Ice Age itself, a story written across snow, ice, and the silent plains of a long-gone era. The mammoth shared its frozen world with an array of creatures, each adapted to the harsh environment of the Ice Age. The plains were alive with life, yet survival was a delicate balance, with each species occupying its place in the ecosystem. Predators such as saber-toothed cats and giant wolves posed constant threats. Though the mammoth's size and strength offered protection, caution was always necessary. Adults in the herd formed protective circles around calves, tusks facing outward, eyes alert to the faintest signs of movement. The roar of a distant predator or the sudden shadow on the snow could send the herd into coordinated action, moving with precision to safeguard the young.
Other herbivores shared the grazing grounds. Ancient horses, bison, and reindeer wandered nearby, each competing for the same patches of grass and moss. The mammoth's enormous size gave it an advantage, yet the herd often adapted its movements to coexist with these species. Grazing patterns, seasonal migrations, and feeding routines were influenced by the presence of other animals, creating a dynamic network of interaction across the icy plains. Occasionally, scavengers would appear. Birds and smaller mammals followed the herd, searching for leftovers or any opportunity to find nourishment. The mammoth, while not a predator itself, influenced the survival of these creatures indirectly. Fallen trees, moved aside by tusks, broken ice revealing water, and the disturbances caused by the herd's movements shaped the behavior and opportunities of many smaller species. Interactions were not always confrontational. Some species formed indirect alliances. Herds of reindeer, for instance, could serve as an early warning system, their heightened senses detecting predators long before the mammoth noticed. The mammoth, in turn, acted as a moving fortress, offering shelter and protection from the harshest winds or sudden snowstorms for smaller animals that managed to stay nearby. Seasonal changes intensified these interactions. During winter, scarcity of food and frozen rivers made competition more acute. Predators were hungrier, herbivores moved in tighter groups, and the mammoth's careful planning of grazing routes and water sources became even more critical. In spring and summer, as vegetation flourished, interactions shifted toward coexistence, with more space and resources available for all. Young mammoths learned the rhythm of this world through observation. They watched how adults navigated other animals, avoided danger, and shared space efficiently. These lessons were vital. Survival depended not only on strength, but also on understanding the complex web of life that surrounded them. Every step across frozen plains, every pause to graze, and every defensive posture was a learned response to the environment and its inhabitants. The mammoth's interactions shaped the ecosystem itself. Their feeding patterns influenced plant growth, their movements altered the terrain, and their presence dictated the behavior of predators and smaller animals. The Ice Age plains were a stage, and the mammoth played a central role, its life intertwined with all creatures around it. Through these relationships, the mammoth maintained its place as a keystone species. Its influence on other animals, and the careful balance it maintained between threat and protection, showcases a world where survival depended not only on strength, but also on awareness, cooperation, and adaptation to the rhythm of life in the Ice Age.
Even amidst danger and scarcity, the mammoth's life was a testament to the interconnectedness of species. Each interaction, from predator encounters to grazing alongside other herbivores, contributed to a story of endurance, vigilance, and the delicate harmony of the frozen plains. The mammoth was not a solitary creature. Its life was deeply intertwined with a herd, a complex social unit that ensured survival,
protection, and guidance across the frozen plains. Each herd had its rhythm, and the mammoths relied on one another in ways that went beyond mere cooperation. Within the herd, the adults acted as guardians. Older females often led the group, guiding the young across dangerous terrain and toward feeding grounds. Their knowledge of seasonal routes, water sources, and hidden patches of vegetation was invaluable, passed down through generations like a living map of the Ice Age world. Every decision, from when to move to where to feed, reflected the collective wisdom of the herd. Calves were the heart of the group. The herd's protective instincts centered on them, with adults forming circles around the young during potential threats. The careful positioning of massive bodies, tusks outward and trunks alert, was a silent yet powerful demonstration of social coordination. These behaviors ensured the survival of the next generation, reinforcing the bonds that held the herd together. Communication was subtle yet constant. The mammoths used low rumbles, trumpeting sounds, and body language to convey warnings, reassurance, or guidance. Even minor movements, a shift of weight, or a flick of the trunk carried meaning within the herd. Young mammoths learned to interpret these signals quickly, understanding both danger and comfort through observation and experience. Feeding was often a group activity. Mammoths grazed together, their massive bodies moving slowly in unison. While each individual focused on its own nourishment, the herd maintained cohesion, adjusting pace and direction to stay together. This social feeding not only provided sustenance, but also reinforced bonds, teaching calves how to navigate the landscape safely and efficiently. The herd also played a critical role in migration. Seasonal changes required careful planning, as movement to new grazing grounds and water sources was essential. The knowledge of older members ensured that younger mammoths followed routes that had been proven safe over generations. In times of scarcity or storm, this cohesion became even more crucial, demonstrating the herd's collective resilience.
Conflicts within the herd were rare but instructive. Disputes over space or access to food were resolved through gentle nudges, displays of strength, or brief confrontations, usually without lasting harm. Such interactions taught hierarchy, respect, and the limits of individual power within the collective structure. Social life also provided emotional support. Close contact, trunk touches, and body warmth helped maintain morale during harsh winters. The herd was a community, bound not only by necessity, but by the shared experience of life in a challenging world. Every interaction, from a comforting nuzzle to coordinated defense, strengthened the social fabric essential for survival. Through this intricate network of relationships, the mammoth thrived in environments that demanded endurance, awareness, and cooperation. The herd's social structure was a key element in the mammoth's success, allowing it to navigate predators, environmental challenges, and the unpredictable rhythms of the Ice Age. Even today, studying herd behavior through fossil evidence and modern elephant comparisons reveals the importance of social bonds. The mammoth's life within the herd exemplifies a balance between strength, cooperation, and instinct. A story of connection that echoes across millennia, preserved in the frozen plains and the memory of these magnificent creatures. Life in the Ice Age demanded endurance, and reproduction was a crucial part of the mammoth's survival strategy. The process began with careful selection of mates, influenced by strength, health, and social hierarchy within the herd. Adult males often competed for access to females, displaying their size and tusks through gentle pushes, trumpeting calls, and other ritualized behaviors rather than outright aggression. Once mating occurred, the female embarked on a lengthy pregnancy, one that required immense energy and resilience.
Gestation lasted nearly 2 years, a testament to the slow and careful development of the next generation. During this time, the female remained within the herd, protected and supported by other members, moving carefully across the plains in search of nourishing food and safe resting places. The birth of a calf was a rare and delicate event. Newborns were small compared to adults, yet still impressively robust. Covered with soft fur and equipped with a small trunk and tiny tusks, the herd watched closely, forming a protective circle around the mother and newborn, guarding against predators and environmental hazards. This immediate vigilance ensured that the calf could take its first tentative steps on frozen ground.
Nursing and care were intensive. Mothers provided sustenance for months, while other females in the herd sometimes assisted in protection and guidance. The young mammoths learned essential survival skills by observing adults, how to use their trunks to feed, how to navigate snow and ice, and how to respond to threats. Every movement, interaction, and lesson was crucial to their development. As the calf grew, it began to explore more independently, yet always within the protective reach of the herd. Play was an important aspect of development, allowing young mammoths to strengthen muscles, practice social interactions, and learn boundaries within the herd. Gentle nudges, mock pushes, and coordinated movements all contributed to physical and social growth, preparing the calf for life as a full adult member of the herd. The herd's social structure ensured that knowledge of safe routes, feeding areas, and water sources was transmitted from generation to generation. Older females played a critical role as teachers, passing down the wisdom of survival acquired over decades. Each calf carried not only its mother's genes, but also the collective knowledge of the herd, linking past and future through experience and observation. Reproduction and care were not without risks. Predators prowled nearby, harsh weather tested endurance, and scarce resources demanded careful management. Yet the mammoth's reproductive strategy, combined with the herd's social cohesion, maximized the chances of survival for each new generation. Every successful birth and growth of a calf was a triumph against the challenges of the Ice Age, a continuation of a lineage that had persisted for thousands of years. Even in death, the mammoth's life cycle teaches lessons about endurance, protection, and the delicate balance between life and environment. The bonds formed through reproduction and care strengthened the herd, ensuring that each generation could face the frozen world together. Through understanding reproduction and juvenile care, we glimpse not only the biological necessities of survival, but also the profound social and emotional life of the mammoth. Every birth, every nurturing moment, and every small victory over the harsh environment adds another layer to the story of a species that once dominated the Ice Age plains. Conflicts within the herd were rare but instructive. Disputes over space or access to food were resolved through gentle nudges, displays of strength, or brief confrontations, usually without lasting harm. Such interactions taught hierarchy, respect, and the limits of individual power within the collective structure. Social life also provided emotional support. Close contact, trunk touches, and body warmth helped maintain morale during harsh winters. The herd was a community, bound not only by necessity, but by the shared experience of life in a challenging world. Every interaction, from a comforting nuzzle to coordinated defense, strengthened the social fabric essential for survival. Through this intricate network of relationships, the mammoth thrived in environments that demanded endurance, awareness, and cooperation. The herd's social structure was a key element in the mammoth's success, allowing it to navigate predators, environmental challenges, and the unpredictable rhythms of the Ice Age. Even today, studying herd behavior through fossil evidence and modern elephant comparisons reveals the importance of social bonds. The mammoth's life within the herd exemplifies a balance between strength, cooperation, and instinct. A story of connection that echoes across millennia, preserved in the frozen plains and the memory of these magnificent creatures. Life in the Ice Age demanded endurance, and reproduction was a crucial part of the mammoth's survival strategy.
The process began with careful selection of mates, influenced by strength, health, and social hierarchy within the herd. Adult males often competed for access to females, displaying their size and tusks through gentle pushes, trumpeting calls, and other ritualized behaviors rather than outright aggression. Once mating occurred, the female embarked on a lengthy pregnancy, one that required immense energy and resilience. Gestation lasted nearly 2 years, a testament to the slow and careful development of the next generation. During this time, the female remained within the herd, protected and supported by other members, moving carefully across the plains in search of nourishing food and safe resting places. The birth of a calf was a rare and delicate event. Newborns were small compared to adults, yet still impressively robust, covered with soft fur and equipped with a small trunk and tiny tusks. The herd watched closely, forming a protective circle around the mother and newborn, guarding against predators and environmental hazards. This immediate vigilance ensured that the calf could take its first tentative steps on frozen ground.
Mature males played a specialized role during conflicts. During the breeding season or when defending territory, males demonstrated strength and dominance, deterring rivals or predators. Their behavior reinforced social hierarchy while simultaneously enhancing the herd's overall protection. The environment itself provided opportunities for defense. Mammoths often led predators into areas with uneven terrain, deep snow, or icy ridges, using their knowledge of the landscape to gain an advantage. This combination of intelligence, instinct, and social coordination allowed the herd to survive despite constant threats. Through these strategies, the mammoth thrived in a world filled with danger. Survival was not merely about strength, it was about awareness, cooperation, and calculated action. Every defensive maneuver, every coordinated movement, and every learned instinct reflected thousands of years of evolution, ensuring that the mammoth remained a dominant presence on the Ice Age plains. The story of defense and protection reveals a complex, intelligent species, one that understood both threat and opportunity, and one whose life was a continuous balance between power, caution, and survival in a harsh and unforgiving world. Survival in the harsh Ice Age environment required the mammoth to be both resourceful and strategic in its search for food. Grazing across vast frozen plains, these giants relied on a diet that consisted primarily of grasses, moss, shrubs, and small branches. Despite their size, mammoths had to balance the energy they expended moving across the plains with the nourishment they gathered. The trunk was the mammoth's most versatile tool in foraging. With remarkable precision, it could pull grasses from beneath the snow, strip leaves from shrubs, or lift branches. Tusks helped clear obstacles or break through ice and snow to access hidden vegetation. Every movement during feeding was purposeful, a combination of instinct and learned behavior passed down through generations. Seasonal changes influenced the mammoth's diet. In spring and summer, fresh grasses and plants were abundant, allowing the herd to feed extensively with less effort. During the harsh winter months, snow-covered landscapes made access to food more challenging. Mammoths used their tusks and trunks to dig through ice and frost, uncovering buried plants. These winter foraging techniques were critical, ensuring survival when resources were scarce.
The herd often moved in coordinated grazing patterns. Adults led the way, testing areas for abundant food, while younger members followed and learned which plants were nutritious and which were to be avoided. This social aspect of feeding ensured efficiency and safety, as the herd could remain alert to predators while nourishing itself. Water sources were closely tied to feeding routines. Frozen rivers, streams, and snowdrifts required clever strategies to access hydration. The mammoth's movements were guided not only by food availability, but also by the location of water, showing an intricate understanding of the Ice Age landscape. Mammoths also shaped their environment through feeding.
Grazing created open spaces, encouraged new plant growth, and influenced the distribution of vegetation across the plains. In this way, the mammoth played a key ecological role, not merely consuming plants, but actively participating in the maintenance of its habitat. Calves learned early how to forage. Observing adults, they practiced grasping grasses, lifting small branches, and coordinating movements with the herd. Playful interactions often doubled as training exercises, strengthening muscles, testing coordination, and teaching essential survival skills. Each day of grazing was a lesson, blending sustenance with education in the ways of the herd. Energy conservation was always critical. Mammoths balanced long movements in search of abundant feeding grounds with periods of rest, often standing together to conserve warmth and energy. Every decision, from where to graze to when to move, reflected a deep instinctive knowledge of the environment and the needs of the herd. Even as the mammoth roamed the frozen plains, its life was a delicate balance between hunger, safety, and energy. Its daily routine, shaped by instinct, social learning, and environmental pressures, ensured that each member of the herd survived the challenges of the Ice Age. Through understanding the mammoth's diet and foraging habits, we see more than just what it ate. We witness a life of intelligence, strategy, and connection to the land, a creature whose existence was deeply intertwined with the plants, snow, and seasonal rhythms of a world long gone.
The mammoth's survival in the Ice Age was a remarkable story of evolution and adaptation. Its enormous size was just the beginning. Countless physical traits allowed it to endure the harsh, frozen landscapes where food was scarce, winds were biting, and temperatures could drop to deadly extremes. Thick, layered fur was the most visible adaptation. Long, coarse outer hairs shielded the mammoth from the biting wind, while a dense undercoat provided insulation against extreme cold. This combination kept body heat contained, allowing the mammoth to remain active even during the harshest winters. Snow and ice often accumulated on the outer coat without reaching the skin, a testament to its effectiveness. Beneath the fur, a substantial layer of fat acted as both energy reserve and thermal insulation. This blubber protected vital organs and maintained warmth during extended periods in freezing conditions. The mammoth's size further enhanced heat retention, as larger bodies lose heat more slowly, a crucial advantage in a climate where exposure could be fatal. Tusks were more than tools for foraging, they also assisted in survival. Curved and strong, they could be used to break ice, move heavy objects, or defend against predators. Their presence allowed the mammoth to access food and water hidden beneath snow and ice, turning the harsh environment into a source of sustenance rather than a barrier. The trunk was another multifunctional adaptation. Flexible, strong, and sensitive, it allowed precise handling of food, water, and obstacles. In freezing weather, the trunk helped the mammoth remove ice or snow from plants, pull vegetation from frozen soil, and even detect subtle changes in the environment that signaled danger or opportunity. Legs and feet were built for endurance. Wide, padded feet distributed weight across snow and soft terrain, preventing the mammoth from sinking and allowing long migrations in search of food and water. Muscular limbs provided both power and stability, enabling the herd to move in coordinated patterns, navigate uneven terrain, and escape threats efficiently. The mammoth's large ears, smaller than those of modern elephants, reduced heat loss while still allowing communication and sensory perception. The overall shape of the body, a compact, robust frame with a slightly sloped back, minimized exposure to harsh winds and helped retain warmth.
Behavioral adaptations complemented physical traits. Herd movement, huddling during storms, and coordinated foraging all enhanced the benefits of physical evolution. The mammoth was not only built to endure the cold, but also instinctively aware of how to maximize its survival in a frozen world. Through these adaptations, the mammoth could thrive where few other large mammals could survive. Each aspect of its anatomy, from fur to fat, tusks to trunk, legs to ears, was a solution to the challenges of life in the Ice Age. Its existence demonstrates the intricate interplay between evolution and environment, where survival required both strength and design. Studying these adaptations today allows us to appreciate the ingenuity of nature. The mammoth's physical traits were finely tuned to a specific ecological niche, a world of ice, snow, and frozen plains. They remind us that life, even in the most extreme conditions, can endure through remarkable engineering crafted by evolution over thousands of years. The story of the mammoth does not end with its thriving herds roaming frozen plains. Over thousands of years, subtle and dramatic changes combined to bring this magnificent species to the edge of extinction. Understanding these factors offers insight not only into the mammoth's life, but also into the fragility of ecosystems and the delicate balance between species and environment. Climate change played a significant role. As the Ice Age receded, temperatures rose, glaciers retreated, and the once abundant frozen plains transformed into forests and wetlands. The mammoth's specialized adaptations, so perfect for extreme cold, became less effective. Thick fur, massive bodies, and feeding patterns suited for open plains made survival more difficult in warmer, forested landscapes. Habitat loss compounded the challenge. Shrinking grasslands reduced the availability of essential food sources, forcing herds to travel farther in search of nourishment. The energy cost of long migrations, combined with the scarcity of suitable feeding grounds, placed immense stress on the species. Younger and weaker individuals were particularly vulnerable during these periods of environmental strain. Human interaction further intensified pressures. Early humans hunted mammoths for meat, fur, and ivory. While humans were not solely responsible for the extinction, their hunting practices added a layer of danger that the mammoth could not entirely mitigate. Trapping and coordinated hunting, combined with habitat challenges, created conditions in which survival became increasingly precarious.
Reproductive rates were another critical factor. Mammoths had long gestation periods and typically produced a single calf at a time. While this strategy allowed careful nurturing and protection of the young, it limited the herd's ability to recover quickly from population losses caused by predation, environmental stress, or disease. Disease and genetic vulnerability may have also played roles. Small, isolated populations faced the risk of inbreeding and reduced genetic diversity, making them more susceptible to illness and further decreasing their ability to adapt to rapidly changing conditions. The combination of climate change, habitat loss, human hunting, and biological constraints eventually led to the disappearance of mammoths from most of the Earth. The last known populations survived in isolated regions, such as Wrangel Island, until about 4,000 years ago, a haunting reminder of a species that once dominated vast landscapes. Yet, extinction is not merely an end. It is also a story of legacy and learning. Fossils, frozen remains, and preserved DNA provide modern science with invaluable insights into evolution, adaptation, and survival. Efforts to study and even potentially bring back aspects of the mammoth through de-extinction research keep the memory of this remarkable creature alive. The mammoth's extinction teaches profound lessons about resilience, environmental change, and human impact. It reminds us that even the strongest and most well-adapted species can face insurmountable challenges when conditions shift too rapidly. Preservation of ecosystems, understanding species roles, and careful interaction with nature are principles underscored by the mammoth's fate. Reflecting on the mammoth, we see more than a giant of the Ice Age. We see a creature whose life, struggle, and eventual disappearance
reveal the interconnectedness of life, the consequences of environmental shifts, and the enduring importance of awareness, adaptation, and respect for the natural world. Through extinction, the mammoth story continues, etched in ice, preserved in fossils, and echoed in the lessons humanity can carry forward, a silent yet powerful reminder of life's fragility and resilience across time.